Once again, good evening, everyone. On behalf of Hedwood Publishing Company, I warmly welcome you to today's webinar. We are delighted to have educators and professionals joining us from diverse places, united by a shared commitment to learning and growth. Hedwood Publishing Company, an ELT specialist and leading curriculum publisher, is part of ABP Education, the education division of the ABP Group. ABP Education is trusted by over 20,000 schools and reaches millions of students across India. Hedwood delivers curriculum-aligned textbooks, teacher resource books, and digital learning solutions that empower teachers and inspire learners. With research-driven pedagogy, structured lesson plans, and professional development, Hedwood ensures measurable improvement in learning outcomes. Its program align with the National Education Policy and the National Curriculum Framework, helping schools achieve national curricular goals with confidence. Today's session promises to be both insightful and enriching. We will be exploring play as a serious pedagogical tool for all ages. And I'm confident that you will take away valuable perspective, research-backed insights, and practical strategies that you can apply in your own learning environment. It is now my pleasure to introduce our speaker for the session, Ms. Krishna. She is an accomplished and dynamic professional with expertise in education and English language and literature, strengthened by an interdisciplinary background in linguistics, cultural studies, environment, philosophy, and visual arts. She brings over a decade of experience in editorial and content creation, along with 3 academic years of teaching. Through these contributions, she has enriched educational practice and made a meaningful impact on both educators and learners. Her deep understanding of the subject, combined with her practical approach, makes her the perfect person to guide us through today's session. Without further delay, I invite Ms. Krishna to take over and lead us into what promises to be a highly engaging webinar. Krishna, the floor is yours.
Sorry. Thank you, Akanksha, for that warm introduction. So everybody, without further delay, I thought I'll just jump into the topic. So my name is Krishna Veni, and I am an ELT editor. At the same time, I have a background in education. So why I actually am repeating this particular information is because whatever that we are going to discuss today is something that I have tried and tested. This is something tried and tested. This is something that we have used, and we have repeatedly used, constantly used, improved, improvised, and everything. So this is just an information in the very beginning, so that we can have that floor, the foundation to be very clear. So first of all, I just want to tell you that I would expect this meeting, this 1 hour, to be interactive. I expect you to react, respond, even you think is there is something to be changed, is there is something that you want to comment on. I expect all that kind of reactions from you. So first of all, I just want to start it with a simple question. Do you think play is important for children while they're in their learning teaching experience? You can drop the comment, or you can make unmute yourself and say this. Do you believe play is essential for learning?
Priyansh says, most certainly. Neha says, yes, very important.
So, do you believe play is essential for learning, like for young children, or for it's not exactly suitable for higher grades, or is it okay to use play in, like everywhere, like it's not like age restricted? Is it a distraction? Do you think it's a distraction? Do you think it's all for all ages, or do you think this is only for young children?
Neha and
Okay.
Priyansh believes it is for all children.
Okay, so why I started with that particular question is that we have this preconceived notion that play or games are only for children, like in their early childhood. It's not exactly needed. We can't replicate play or games using them in higher grades. So, this is a thought that we are going to challenge today. This is not to preach, this is not to establish anything. This is to actually have an interaction where we want to challenge the very notion that play is not a very serious pedagogical tool. So, the very idea or the definition of play might be different for everyone. So, some may think this is just, the very basic plays, games that we can think of, maybe Ludo, chess, building block, or anything, or is it actually restricted to that? That's where we are going to have this discussion. So, 𝗦𝗲𝗶𝗴𝗴 was a Russian Soviet psychologist. He was a philosopher, he was a critical thinker, and I'm very sure teachers know about him. He is a name that we uh, keep encountering in our B.Ed curriculum. So, Vygotsky said that in a play, he meant games. In play, a child always behaves beyond his average age, above his daily behavior. In play, it is as though he were a head taller than himself. And our whole session is going to focus on this very last sentence, that it is as if he were a head taller than himself. So we are trying to be a head taller than ourselves today. So, when it comes to power of play, why do we include plays in our daily, like in lesson plans or in our learning experience or in teaching experience? Why do we add play? So usually it is to the play makes it more engaging. It makes it interactive. It makes it fun. So is it on? It's not just fun. That is the part we are focusing on. Play encourages self-regulation. Learners follow rules based on ideas, not impulse. This supports abstract thinking. Why? We'll go back to Vygotsky here. In play, a child behaves beyond his average age, above his daily behavior. Why do we say that? Imagine we are doing a role play, and I am a doctor, and you might be the patient. So, how do I, a child, would behave in that situation? I won't act as my usual self for sure. If you actually look at a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old in your home, you would know when they're acting like a doctor, they'll be very serious, they will sit straight, and they'll use comforting words. You can think of those children in your home. They'll be like, oh, it's okay, I'll take care of you. They'll change their whole demeanor. They will use more comforting words. The way they touch will change. Everything will be, there will be something or the other that you can point, oh, my child has observed this from somewhere. Similarly, if they are playing, say, police and thief, or they are playing teacher and children, their whole being changes. They start being a bit more serious, they start using certain words, they start acting like they will have certain policeness or doctorness or teacherness in it. So, this is what we are looking for, that they are not being, they are not usually. The thing with children is that, or even I would say adult, we follow our impulses. But here, while we are role playing, while we are playing, we are not exactly following our impulses. We are following certain ideas that is already in our head, certain observations that already in there. This is what we are going to manipulate. Why does play reduce as learners grow older? This is something related to the first question, because I'd say I can kind of imagine certain answers that it's chaotic, this is going to be very noisy, this is difficult to manage in a 60 class children. Yes. Is it going to be chaotic? It's going to be a bit chaotic. But why is it necessary to reduce play as learners grow older? When you actually rethink play, play supports critical thinking. There is a it supports rule understanding, systems thinking, and collaboration. I'm pretty much sure you don't need me to explain to you how play supports collaboration because it's quite given. Um, but we are going to check what about the other sections. How is it going to actually enrich our teaching learning experience? Play is not limited to early childhood. So these are the four sections that we are going to focus on: play and cognitive growth. There is play, there will be rule testing, there will be social negotiation, and there will be conceptual understanding. But how? So when it comes to play, plays are not just games. There is a clear difference between plays and games. And we are going to look at four serious play formats. One, mask or role play. Second, game board or rule making or modification. Third, building block or construction play. Fourth, controller or simulations. Have you heard or have you come across any of these in your teaching experience, in your academic stage, any word? I'd expect you to actually have answers here because, as I said before, I happen to be a teacher during the pre-COVID, post-COVID, COVID time. And this is something we all have encountered while we are in a situation like this. What do you think when we are asking a question, when we are having a discussion, when we are teaching something? Have you ever come across these words, any of these words? Mask, role play, rule making, building block, controller, anything? Yes, okay. So when it comes to role play, this is something very popular, commonly used. We all have used it. But generally, there is a tendency to associate role play with just language teaching, but we are going to explore the other side of it. So when students step into the shoes of a character, it could be historical, it could be literary, it could be scientific, philosophical, anything, the children start understanding their perspective. This is what we were talking about when we said the child will have a certain doctorness when they are being a doctor. So how does this work? Think about, say, in a English teaching classroom or a Hindi teaching or Malayalam or Tamil teaching classroom. In that particular situation, you know how it works. You will give there is a role play happening. But we are going to manipulate this a bit more to an advanced stage. How? Say, in Shakespeare's Macbeth, there is Lady Macbeth. And if the child is being Lady Macbeth, they'll start thinking why this happened, why I'm taking this decision, why is it necessary for me to have this kind of a action that is being done, why should I speak like this, why should I sit like this, what should I do? It's the same thing with historical or scientific characters. For example, if you are analyzing World War II, you take a particular nation for that matter, or a particular politician, a leader, a general, or a particular policy. It's just not about literary characters, but in historical or scientific section as well. In science, social sciences, and mathematics, civics, and geography, whatever that you want to look at, you can actually start analyzing, critically reading, critically break down why a particular incident happened, why a particular policy is being made by stepping into the shoes of those people or those nations or elements that were actually contributed to that particular policy or scientific uh, innovation, and you start analyzing every other perspective around it. It builds empathy for sure, but at the same time it forces students to apply knowledge, not just memorize it. When you actually read about, say, Wright brothers, you are not just reading the biography, you are understanding the historical perspective, you are analyzing the situation, you are analyzing the scientific practices. So when it comes to role play, it's not just about playing a character. You are actually, a child is actually analyzing, breaking down the complex system into smaller, understandable, simple terms. It turns an abstract concept into something concrete. I'll give you two examples for that matter. One is a mock trial. In a mock trial, students act as lawyers, witnesses, jurors, and they develop skills like analysis, evidence use, and perspective. It can be applied in a social science classroom, it can be applied in a literature classroom, or it can be in a science background, or in more. Another example for that, because I keep saying that it can be applied in other disciplines and I'm not giving any example, which is why I'm giving this particular example. For example, the topic is pollution, and the students can act as, role play as the stakeholders, farmers, students, children, and politicians, local government, environmentalists, business persons, and they act as these stakeholders. They debate pollution crisis. They start thinking from all the perspectives, and they build system thinking and decision making skills. How? When you are debating pollution crisis as stakeholders, you understand something other than just the definition. You understand how does this affect. You understand how you can change it, how easy it is to change it, how difficult it is to change it. And there is this ripple effect, there is this butterfly effect, where the students will be able to understand a particular stakeholder's decision affect all the others. Say a business person who is not ready to follow environmental law, that affects all the other stakeholders. This happens while they are in that role play. I hope I'm clear with that one. And if you have any comment, if you have any doubts, if you have any queries, please drop while we are having this discussion. And another one, the second one, the first one, I'll go back to the four serious gameplays. The first one is the role play. The second one is rule making and modification games. So while we are going ahead with these four plays, it gets a bit complex, a bit more advanced, a bit more fun. So role play is something that we have done. So now we are looking at rule making and modification games. So this is meta play. So what is meta play? In the very simple terms, a play is something that we do while we are in the play. We are inside the game. We are following the game. Meta play is around, we are playing around the rules. We are playing around the game. For example, while I'm not a great chess player, so when I'm playing chess, I just follow the rules. I know the rules. I know how the bishop moves. I know how the rook moves. I know what to do and what not to do. So I move according to the rules. I'm not manipulating the rules. I'm just playing. When it comes to meta play, you strategize. You strategize in a way that, for example, if you are a chess follower, you would know there is this particular move called scotch opening. Scotch opening is not a very popular move. Scotch opening is a strategy. Or if you look at say cricket or football, there are certain strategies. You are manipulating certain rules. You are playing around certain rules. And why is it important? Because we move that particular, we apply that particular rule, or we apply that particular move when our opponent least expects it. This is how you meta play it. The way I play chess is not how Magnus is going to play, or that is not how Vishwanathan Anand is going to play. This is going to be different because I'm not playing around the rule. But how I understand chess would be different from how they understand it, because why? They are understanding it in a better way because they are playing around it. So in rule making and modification game, students modify rules of a simple game. They transform this very game transform students from passive rule followers into active rule investigators. There is innovation that is happening. They are designing rules. This is all about fairness and ethical reason, because you can play a game in two ways. You can play by the rules, still manipulate it, and be fair and be ethical. This is what we are talking about. We are not talking about completely hacking the system. So we are talking about the slight manipulations. And how does that work? In, say, they reflect on strategies. For example, I am working on a math problem. I have multiple math way to solve that particular problem, and I need to focus on a particular one that is going to benefit me, time, effort in competition and everything. And they start thinking, why did that work? Why did this particular formula works and this doesn't work? What happens if I slightly tweak it? What should I do? Is it going to benefit me? Is it going to save more time? So how should I do it? This is where we connect game actions to real world concept. This is how you redesign the game. For example, say we are giving students a particular, they have to design a fair game stall. They must design a simple game for a school fair, where the school makes a small profit, but players have reasonable chances to win. Like you attend a mela, you attend an exhibition, there are these smaller games where you can play. There is a chance for us to win, there is a chance for them to make money. There is a chance for them to profit out of it, there is a chance for us to get something, gain something. So they must decide on rules, number of items, winning condition, calculate the probability of winning and losing, and they test it in the classroom. What are they applying? They are making decisions, they are collaborating with their with their fellow students, they are applying for probability formulas to real world designs, they are, and they, the thing about game, the best thing about having games in classrooms, one of the best thing is that they are okay with failing. They are okay even if there is a small, if there is only small profit. It's easier to take no or rejection or failure when it happens in a play, unlike you are doing it in a test. So here they are applying their probability formulas, they are applying their understanding into a real world design. So here we are moving from memorizing to applying, analyzing, redesigning. Instead of saying here are the rules, memorize them, use them, we are saying let's discover why these rules exist. What happens if we change them? What happens if I make it slightly tweak it? What happens if I do not apply it right now and I apply it later? So here there is this constant analytical skill that is on fire while doing these works, rather than being very passively listening to something. Another example of modification is that this is something you might have come across or you might be doing in your classroom. For example, write photosynthesis as a recipe or fairy tale as a business letter. So for a child to actually write photosynthesis as a recipe, one, they should know photosynthesis. Second, they should know how to write a recipe. So they are not only applying their understanding of what a scientific phenomena is, they are applying language, they are applying their analytical skill, they are applying their critical reading, they are applying their critical thinking, everything here. And it does, it's not just fun, it's just not a funny activity or a playful game or something like that. This builds register awareness. And what is register awareness? For example, while you are writing a recipe, um, you use certain words. For example, stir or so stir is a word that we commonly use in recipe. We are not going to use it in any other situation usually. So while we are writing photosynthesis as a recipe, they need to know word to use it, or pour something, um, stir occasionally, keep it mild. These things, these words associated with recipe is used in writing photosynthesis as a recipe. This actually assess reasoning and justification, because there should be a justified reason why a child is writing stir in a recipe, stir in a photosynthesis as a recipe, or when we are writing a fairy tale in a business letter, the whole sentence structure changes, the way we use certain addresses changes. So they are looking for certain terminology, they are looking for reasoning, they are looking for quality of thinking and not only correctness. When it comes to play as a pedagogical tool, we are not only focusing on correct answers, we are focusing on the quality of thinking, the quality of the process. We are focusing on the process more than the product. And the fourth one, the third one is a construction play. So far, the first one was role play, the second one being the game board or rule modification. Did you understand what I was saying? Did you get an idea about what I was saying? I would appreciate if you actually respond with thumbs up, or you can leave a comment. Okay, so when it comes to construction play, in construction play, as the name suggests, we are constructing, we are creating. We are building abstract ideas using simple materials. This is something tried and tested. This is something we use in a classroom. Like for example, those working models, still models. We are building abstract ideas using simple material. We are making it concrete using Lego, scrap paper, Minecraft. It could be anything, a straw, a bead, a paper, anything. For example, when I ask you to say make a metaphor for loneliness, a model for sustainable society, it could be anything. We are encouraging students to concretize the representation of concept, to make it concrete, to materialize it rather than memorize an abstract phenomena or a rule. I'll give you an example for this. Say here, in this construction play, we are asking children to make molecule model makers. How do we do that? We can ask children to use colored beads and pipe cleaners, say blue for hydrogen, white beads or pearls or anything for oxygen, black for carbon, and ask them to and give a formula. For example, methane, CH4, create it. How? They will be how the atoms are connected. They will be connecting, they will be building the molecules using these pipe cleaners and beads. And to advance it, we can actually challenge them, make it more advanced by showing how burning of methane. So they have to, first they'll create methane with CH4, then they will be rearranging it, while one they have to add plus 2O2. Then they'll have to rearrange it to make CO2 and H2O. So we are making atoms, there is no way we are going to touch an atom, like to see an atom. So this is how we are making abstract ideas, the invisible concepts, visible, touchable, something that we can see, experience. For example, here, it could be anything. It could be beads, it could be buttons, it could be anything, even pens and pencil, paper, scrap paper, bowls. So this is how we construct and materialize, concretize the abstract ideas into a very concrete, visible method. For example, if you actually can think about it, you don't need to maybe say it, but I'll give you 60 seconds. But think about it. If you need to say, give a model, make a model, create a model, construct a model about perception or collaboration or play, can you think how you can create something like that? And if there is anyone that can tell me to how they will actually create something like this when it comes to, it could be anything, it could be something of your choice as well, it could be perception, it could be collaboration, it could be strength, it could be power. If you have 60 seconds and there are things around you, pen, pencil, paper, um, um, uh, um, pen stand, books. If you have 60 seconds, how will you create something? Can anyone think about it and can anyone come up with something like that?
Beautiful. Could you repeat that, ma'am? I guess I lost it,
Okay,
the
if
question
you are
somewhere.
given 60 seconds and you need to create a model, a working model or a still model, how will you represent, how will you show the idea of, say, perception, or how will you show the idea of strength, how will you show an idea of um, power? You can choose whatever that you want to, but how will you use the things around you, the things that you see in your classroom, to actually replicate, to create, construct something rather than just defining it?
To me, ma'am, I consider this empathy, sympathy, and apathy.
Hmm.
Teaching these important skills to students. I will use students to demonstrate some sentences against or for their mates. I mean, one student is going to use, I am with you, I feel sorry for you. With this, I'm going to explain to others, that's what we call empathy. And similarly, someone is going to say, I don't care. I'm using students, I'm
Yeah.
making them demonstrate. And someone is going to say, I don't care. Whatever is wrong with you, go find help somewhere else. With this, I'm going to explain to them, that's what we call apathy, etc. This with the thing I'm using is student, not any other consider those students and objectives. And I don't think this is going to take more time. Within 60 seconds, I can be done with teaching these life skills to students.
Yes, thank you. Um, I appreciate it, and at the same time, I wanted to ask you if you actually need to show something. If, say, they are not, there are times when we are in a classroom and even after repeating over and over and again, sometimes we might not be able to communicate. It's not our problem, it's not their problem, something lacks and it's not communicating. And if you can concretize this, if you can use certain situations or things or objects to show something, it could be a scientific formula, it could be a social science formula, it could be a humanities subject, it could be a math problem. How will you show it rather than to define it?
Since I teach
Anybody?
in, since I teach English grammar, I
Yeah.
think prepositions I can teach them using different things,
Hmm.
using ball, using box,
Yeah.
telling them, see, this is on, this is under, etc. I guess that is something where I can use objectives, not telling them where whatever is I'm making them see whatever is happening. This
Yeah.
is where we use on, under, between, and even helping them understand the difference between under, sorry, this among and this between, using those objectives, those balls, pencils, etc. Even I can use myself. See, I am among the students, I being among them, and then declaring, making them say, that's where we use among, that's where we use between. This
Yeah.
is one of the
Thank
examples. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much. So similarly, as it is pointed out, it could be anything. It need not be an object. It could be ourselves. It could be objects. It could be anything. Anything that is concrete, that will show them that they can see and experience and analyze while it is in. For example, as said before, the idea of empathy, the idea of strength, the idea of force. For example, in physics, the concept of force, we can define it, at the same time we can show it with objects. So this is something what we were discussing in construction play. And there are two ways to do it. One is we are creating. At the same time, the better way I would say is for them to figure out how to use certain everyday objects or everyday events to showcase it. The difference between the two is that when I, as a teacher, am showing something to them, the very, if I need to say, showcase the idea of strength or force or acceleration, I need to understand what the concept is. I need to understand the definition. I need to understand the concept. I need to understand what affects it, what doesn't affect it, to create a model. So, when we are telling students to create something, to construct something, this whole thought process happens, that they start thinking what it is, why is it, what affects it, why should it be like this. So we are giving them a chance to actually analyze everything, to go through everything that they understood and replicate it and design it. The last one is controller simulation. Controller simulation is not something that, these words are not something that we use, but I think we use them, the idea, the very game in our classroom quite a lot. In controller or simulation, we are learning by doing in a safe world. And why is it important? As I said before, when we are playing games, when we are playing something, role playing or constructing, our stakes of failure is pretty low. It's okay to fail. It's okay to have certain it's okay to make mistakes there, unlike in a very say in an assessment setting where failure results in something bad, punishment, something wrong. That is how we associate it, right? Or the children associate it. When it comes to games and plays where they are constructing and manipulating and playing, there is a chance to fail without feeling bad. Which is why we say in controller and simulation, we are learning by doing in a safe world. There is a guided, pretend world like game. This is something used for cause and effect, decision making, complex systems, and I'll explain now. For example, in a biology classroom, I'm giving examples from different things, different subjects or disciplines, so that I can cover everything. In forest balance game, say this is a card game. This is in a classroom setup. What happens here is that, I'm sorry, what happens here is that, say there are 12 to 13 students in our classroom, or 20 to 30, or 60, or 80. There are classes with 80 and 60 students. And we are dividing those classes, or we are keeping it as it is, and we are giving them each one a card. It could be and each student is a species. A student can be grass, student can be a tree, student can be a tiger, a wolf, an elephant, an earthworm, bacteria, anything. And they are connected by strings. So what we are going to do here is that in this one, in forest balance game, they are connected by strings. They are different species that we see across, and we are showing they are physically experiencing interdependence and ecologic balance. ecological balance. How? Say a student is grass and the grass is down, which shows drought. And who will affect by it? The deer, the bear, the tiger, the water bodies, everything will be affected. So, or say there are tigers and there is a child as a tiger. The species that the child is representing is a tiger, and there are multiple tigers. So, what happens then? There is the ecological balance is again gone because there is not enough food for the tiger. It affects the other herbivores that affect the grass, that affect the people living near the forest. And say there is an elephant and the herd of elephant or a single one. So these species they are connected. This is the best way I think to teach food habitat or ecological balance, because here we are teaching them uh, one affect the other. They are dependent on each other. They understand that they are physically experiencing that the animals, the birds, all the species, they are depending on each other. They are one affect the another. How does this work? Because say one is down, so the other is affected, the other one is also down. One is in the rice, for example, there are a lot more, say um, eucalypts, for example, a eucalyptus tree. Eucalyptus tree are invasive to particular ecological system, biodiverse system. So when a child representing eucalypts is introduced in a particular system that affects everybody, that actually violate, that actually challenge the ecological balance of that particular section. So there, while being able they are sorry while playing this game, this forest balance game, the students are able to understand, physically experience in a concrete manner the interdependence, ecological balance and environmentalism, rather than just saying, oh, they are dependent on each other. So here we are taking a particular concept, a particular phenomenon and making it concrete. And before I go to the practical concerns, we talked about four kinds of plays, four kinds of games. There is role play, there is modification game. Modification could be anything. We can ask them to change a story into a play, a comedy into a tragedy, a concept, a mathematical problem into a game, a mathematical problem into a story. Because nowadays in NCF and NEP, we are focusing on how we can include all those, like we can make everything interdisciplinary. So these are possible. And the third one was there is controller simulation and there is construction play. In the four games that we have discussed, in the four serious games that we have discussed, do you have any doubt regarding these games? Do you think this is replicable? Do you think this is something that we can use in the classroom? Or do you think this is going to be chaotic and we don't want to touch it?
Neha and Priyansh agree with you. Yes, absolutely, they can use it.
So regarding these four plays, when we are using play as a serious pedagogical tool, what are your concerns? Like, do you think this is going to work or do you think this won't? Do you think this is replicable or do you think there are certain things that we have to take care of before introducing this in our classroom? Is there anything? I would actually appreciate you can unmute and talk. That's okay as well. Do you think this is a bit too much for you or do you think this is something that we do already? This is something that we have already done in our classroom. What do you think?
Neha is concerned whether all learners will get the opportunity to participate or not.
Yeah, this is something that is that is a concern. There is no doubt about that. But at the same time, we are not giving extra time for this. We are trying to incorporate games into the play. For example, I'll give you a simple example. While I was a teacher, while I was teaching, um, a single period will be 45 minutes, and there will be more than 60 students in my classroom, and it is very difficult to actually ask them to sit down and listen to us for 45 minutes. One thing I used to do was that I used to divide these students into different sections, smaller group, and I'll already tell them in the very beginning that we'll be playing a game after 20 minutes. But the catch is that for the first 20 minutes, you should be there will be, of course, there will be positive and negative reinforcement in that sense. I'm not really, the negative reinforcement need not be very punishable one. But the thing is that, say, if you are going to sit together and we are going to finish a particular section, we'll play something after that. And there will be students who might have different difficulties in engaging in certain games, say a kinesthetic one, something that requires bodily movement, where a particular child is not exactly able to participate in because of certain challenges that the child might be experiencing, or there are certain learning challenges that might be pulling them a bit backward rather than getting into this. One thing that we can do is, again, the best thing about play is that you get to manipulate it, you get to change it, you set the rules. There is no fixed rules for this, everything can be changed. Will it become chaotic? A bit. But organized, productive chaos is good. It will result in something beautiful. What about syllabus coverage? Again, we are not going to uh, make it dissociated from the syllabus coverage. This is very much part and parcel of the syllabus. This is very much into the curriculum. This is very much in our classroom. This is in the course book. We are not going beyond anything. We are making the learning experience a bit different. And how do we assess it? That's what the point is. While assessing a serious play, we need to understand that more than the product, we are focusing on process. One, quality of justification. When they are tweaking, when they are engaging, when they are interacting, collaborating with their fellow students, can they articulate a reasoned argument? Can they convince the other child? Can they make it agreeable? Are they okay with that? This is an important part. So we are focusing on certain set of assessment here. So we are saying, like, rather than, oh, this is how it is, this is what I want to do, are they going to say, oh, this rule should be used like this because I think XYZ? Are they able to articulate it? Are they able to persuade others? Are they able to convince others? Look for use of subject terminology. As I said before, when we are rewriting, when we are focusing on certain terminologies, are they able to use it? Are they able to reproduce it? Are they able to understand it? Second one, how do they handle disagreement? One of the reasons why classrooms using plays become very chaotic is that they don't know how to handle disagreement. I say yes, my friend is saying no, we are not going to we are not going to agree on anything. So here in collaborative negotiation, are they able to negotiate? Are they able to handle disagreement? Are they able to understand rejection? Are they able to understand criticism in a positive way? This is something that we assess, not that, oh, they are going to win it. No, sometimes agreeing to the disagreement will take an extra step, will take a critical thinking part. For example, in a situation where my friend is saying what your understanding of a rule is wrong, this is the right part, and to actually understand and agree to that disagreement should be this should be assessed, because this takes an extra skill. We are focusing on the quality of thinking and not only correctness. It's not a correct accurate answer that we are looking for. We are focusing on quality of thinking. We are focusing on the process, the collaboration, reasoning, then the final artifact or performance. And the final tip, start with low stakes silly rule changes. Because the best thing about game is that, as I have been repeating forever and ever, that this is low stake. Failure is okay. Failure is safe. And there will be progression. They will start with something simple, silly, and they'll move forward to something advanced. The feedback is there, learning happens through iteration, there is improvement, constant challenges. This is why games or play creates a space where failure is safe, accepted, and not frowned upon. Play doesn't simply simplify learning. There is, as I asked in the very beginning, like, do you think it's possible? Do you think play is necessary? This doesn't simplify anything. This enriches it. We are making learning deeper, more engaging, and more human with plays. And this is what we wanted to say, that be a head taller, and thank you for playing. If you have any queries, if you have any concerns, if you do think you have any criticism as well, I would appreciate you saying that.
Would anyone like to put up some questions? Thank you so much, Krishna, for your valuable insights, and sincere thanks to all the educators for taking the time to join us today. Wishing you a pleasant evening ahead.
Thank you, everyone.